Over the last week, Marriott Bonvoy did a flash devaluation, Hyatt and Aeroplan started a partnership, and we might be seeing flight prices increase. This and more in today's roundup. Big favor, give us a thumbs up to help with the algorithm. If you know someone that might benefit, then share this with them. Okay, starting with the Bonvoy devaluation, over the last week, we've seen price increases by about 5 to 10% across the board. Some hotels are up more while others less, but it's still not a good time. This is on the heels of a large consortium of Marriott hotel owners pushing back at corporate on the Bonvoy program. Their main argument is that they're the ones footing the bill for customers using points, especially when we get outsized value. Alongside lowering the cost of redemptions, they also want a share of co-branded credit card revenue. Even though it feels like distinct things, they go hand in hand. If we take a look at their public annual reports on the investor relations website, we have the balance sheet. All of these numbers are in millions and assets look pretty normal here. Taking a look at liabilities, the main callout for our purpose are short-term liabilities for guest loyalty programs at about $3.5 billion, and also the long-term version of that at about $4.5 billion for 2025. Going to page 28, this is their hotel points, credit card points, and free night certificates that are issued. The reason it's a liability is because they're giving us certificates that we can use for future stays. Simplifying it to the most basic level, imagine if they had 10,000 points outstanding, and that's it, and each hotel night was 1,000 points. That means that they're responsible for 10 nights. The thing you might not know is that Marriott operates off a very asset-light strategy, and about 70 to 75% of their hotels are actually franchised. About 25 to 30% are managed by Marriott, while less than 1% are actually owned by Marriott proper. For our purpose, the main idea though is that it's not free for Marriott. Going back to the simplified example with those 10 nights they need to provide us, we're probably redeeming it at a franchisee, and Marriott proper has to pay the franchisee. Let's say, for example, 100 per night, so times 10, that's $1,000. At the moment, franchisees feel like they're not getting paid enough, so what's the solution? By increasing the point price by 5 to 10%, let's say 10%, each night now might cost $1,100 instead of $1,000, and that for them means it's 9 nights instead of 10 nights. With the devaluation, we get less nights, but ironically, they can now pay the franchisees more. The total cost to Marriott proper, corporate, ends up being lower. Also consider that most non-points people probably wouldn't notice. A lot of normal people don't even know the difference between brands, and they might complain about a Marriott being too small, even though they ended up booking a 4 points hotel, which is meant to be very economic and small. Put another way, that's like booking a normal Marriott, and then complaining that it's not the St. Regis or the Ritz-Carlton. Okay, back to the devaluation. Loyalty Lobby did a study of Bangkok hotels, and the value now floats at about 0.56 cents per point, so not very ideal. To be fair though, I would argue that cities, historically at least, haven't been great value. I'm actually kind of curious, so let's look at the Maldives, where there's 11 hotels, and we'll look at October, which is shoulder season. For Westin and Le Méridien, it's pretty mediocre, about 0.5 cents per point. Same thing with Sheraton, one of the JWs, and one of the design hotels. The other design hotel though isn't bad at all, pretty solid value, and same thing with the other JW, and also the Autograph. All of these are about 1 cent per point. For W, St. Regis, and Ritz-Carlton, all of them are north of 1 cent per point, so pretty good value, and if you care about the destination, then it's a good redemption. So if you or your player 2 wants to go to the St. Regis Maldives, then that's great value, and the points are significantly cheaper than paying out of pocket. If the alternative is you dropping 20 or 30k or 50k, then I'd rather use points than drop the 50k. And to be fair, the point isn't that you have to go to the Maldives or these specific hotels, but you want to do a similar analysis for wherever you're considering to make sure that you're actually getting value. Even for something like Tokyo, you can use 5,200 points for an $86 a night 4 points flex hotel. Doing the math there, that's 0.17 cents per point, and probably the worst value I've seen for Marriott points. Maybe I'm alone here, but I'd rather pay 2 times as much in terms of points for the Prince Gallery Tokyo, which is $800 a night, and that's 0.68 cents per point, or 4 times more value. Even if I'm on a budget, I'd rather pay out of pocket for those cheaper nights and then use points for the fancy night, especially because it is a 1 Michelin key hotel and actually worth a visit, and the points make it easier. I am curious how you think about points, whether it's about maximizing value or minimizing out of pocket. With the constant wave of devaluations, I think more than ever, earning and burning is the right strategy. I'm already through most of the cards and repeating ones that I can, especially because intro bonuses drive so much value. If you have lower spend, then intro bonuses can be tough, and in that case, I'd look into rent or tax payments. Also, if you're a business owner or you have an LLC, then there's a lot of strategies and options. One of my favorite tools for this is today's sponsor, Melio. Melio is a digital payment platform for small businesses. It helps you pay vendors, get paid, manage cash flow, and keep bookkeeping organized from one simple dashboard. This includes account payable automation, so you can streamline bill entry with AI-powered bill capture and schedule payments. They also do allow for flexible payment methods. That means you can pay your bill using ACH, bank transfer, credit card, debit card, or physical check. The interesting thing for most of us is you can pay with credit card even for vendors that normally don't take credit card as a form of payment. For my business, I have contractors and vendors that I have to pay every month, and Melio allows me to use my credit card for those payments. This makes intro bonuses and spending towards elite status a piece of cake. The platform lets you schedule all of these, so once you set it up, it runs in the background. The nice part is that vendors don't need to sign up, and the process is seamless for them. If you're a small business and you have a lot on your plate, one time-saving feature is that Melio seamlessly syncs with software like QuickBooks and Xero, so you don't have to enter data manually. For people on the go, Melio has an app to manage your business payments from anywhere. That means you can review and approve stuff while you're at the airport, create invoices at the client site, and track your payment status all from your phone. Try it for free yourself today. Go to the link here or link down below, sign up for free, and schedule your first payment today. Moving to a lightning round, Alaska just did a STARLUX award drop. If you're unfamiliar, it might be the coolest business class product out there and most high tech. Their best product is on the A350, 900, or 1000, and it's a 1-2-1 reverse herringbone setup. You get 24-inch 4K displays, wireless charging, and a lot of wood tones and copper tones. Also, of course, sliding doors, and they have a 0G mode, which is great for sleeping. The food for me is pretty good, but it depends on the menu you get and your palate. In the past, the best way to book this was super last minute. With the inventory dump, we are seeing a ton of space for the next 2 months, and a lot of this, if not all of it, is from Phoenix. The main reason for this is that it's a new route for 2026, and the best way to find availability usually is when companies open new routes. When they start a new route, the demand might not be there yet, so this is a way for them to get rid of that inventory. For a lot of the dates, they do have multiple seats, so for example, November 5th has 2 seats. If you don't mind a connection, they also have some other destinations like Manila, Singapore, or Japan. For example, here's Seattle to Taipei, and then connecting through to Manila. It is business all the way through, but different aircrafts. The long leg is going to be the A350, and then for the shorter 2-hour one to Manila, it's going to be the A321, which is a 2-2 setup. It still looks pretty good though, and it's a short flight. Also, I did send a newsletter about this in the morning since it's faster to type than filming. If you want travel, shopping, and other deals, consider signing up and it's free. You also can do economy, but the value might not be there. For example, economy is about half the price here at 42.5K, so you could argue that 2 economies would be 1 business. Per way for economy, 42.5K and $25, so as a round trip, that's 85K points and $50 in fees. The main issue though is that the retail price of the same flight is $940. 85K points plus $50 versus $940 means that you're only getting 1.05 cents per point. With business class, it's $5,400 for the round trip. Doing the math there for the round trip, you're getting about 3.1 cents per point. For context, we usually buy Alaska miles when they have sales, so here it's 160K miles for about $2,950, so 1.85 cents per mile. Economy doesn't really make sense here unless you're getting the miles for way cheaper. Put another way though, when we're buying points, it means that we're paying about $1,600 for the one way for business, which I consider a good deal. Obviously, it depends on you and your measuring stick, but for a lot of other business class deals that involve the US, you either have to start from abroad, and that's a bit more annoying that way, or the ticket price is going to be a lot higher. And mind you, I do fly economy, I'm not against it, but the value has to make sense, otherwise I'd rather pay out of pocket. So I guess for me, I do fall more into the outsized value camp rather than just minimizing out of pocket. Next up, Rove just added Qantas as a transfer partner. If you're not familiar, Rove is a rewards currency you can earn from everyday spending. This includes online shopping at places like Nike, Best Buy, or StubHub, and also booking hotels where you might get 30x miles for a stay. Also, a lot of the rates do count as direct bookings. This means you can triple or even quadruple dip. You're getting Rove miles back for the booking, you get credit card points back, and especially with hotel cards, the multipliers can be pretty competitive. You also get points and credits for the stay, so elite night credits for status if you care, and then you get the perks of elite status like upgrades and breakfast. Since Rove just added Qantas as a transfer partner, they have a promotional rate. You're going to get a 50% bonus through August 14th, 2026 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. With a 50% bonus, 1,000 Rove is 1,500 Qantas. Also, even if you don't want to go to Australia, there's a lot of other use cases with other oneworld partners. For example, flying to Madrid in business class for 73.4k points. So here we're using Qantas points to book Iberia, which is part of oneworld, and there is 120 in fees, but that's not too bad at all. Another great use case is going to be Chicago or New York to Helsinki. This one's using Qantas to book Finnair, and it's 90k and about 200 in fees. This might be one of the more interesting hard products since it's a no-recline business class seat and it feels pretty roomy. If you're a side sleeper and you don't like the coffin vibes of other business classes, then you're going to love the seat. Also, if you haven't checked out Rove yet, new members can get 1,500 miles for using our exclusive link. The standard link is 500 miles. Next up, World of Hyatt and Air Canada Aeroplan just announced a new partnership. There are a lot of moving parts and some things we don't find out until the fall. The baseline partnership applies to anyone that has Hyatt status, whether it's Discoverist, Explorist, or Globalist. That means that if you have a Hyatt card, this applies to you. The annoying thing though is that the immediate value is pretty minimal. You're looking at $20 Canadian as an Air Canada credit after linking your account. Also, it's 20 Canadian, not 20 US, so adjusting for it, that's about 14 US. Think of it like a one-use coupon per calendar year. You can either use it for a one-way flight for $10 CAD per customer, or round trip is 20 CAD. It is per passenger within your reservation, so if you have a family of 4, then that's $80 off. Also, there doesn't seem to be a max in case you have a very big family. I'll happily take $20 or $14, but yeah, given the prices, it probably doesn't move the needle as much as you'd like. The more interesting thing is going to happen in the fall with Aeroplan status. They're going to offer a fast track for Explorers and Globalists, and it's going to be a 90-day challenge with a match, so if you do it, you end up keeping the status. It does depend on the level they give us, but it could be interesting. Hopefully there is a path to 50k that's not too insane, and the main reason for that is because you'll end up getting STARLUX Gold, which is the sweet spot. That means the status you get from Air Canada actually works with other STARLUX partners rather than just Air Canada. For example, you get better check-in with United. Same thing with lounge access to Maple Leaf lounges and Air Canada cafes, but also other STARLUX Gold lounges, and there's a ton there. Beyond these two benefits, there is a third one, but it's pretty mediocre. So you're going to be able to transfer Hyatt points to Aeroplan, and you have two options. Number one is as a certificate, so 50k Hyatt would be 30k as an Aeroplan certificate, and number two is directly as points, and it's at a 2-to-1 rate, so 50k would be 25k. Neither really makes sense in my book, but it's an option. If you have Aeroplan status, you're going to get Hyatt benefits. I'm going to speed run through this one since it's less applicable. If you have any of the Aeroplan statuses, there's a 90-day challenge and you can work your way up to Globalist with 20 nights, and I would say that's a sweet spot. You can also transfer Aeroplan to Hyatt at a 2-to-1 rate, so 50k Aeroplan is 25k Hyatt. You're pretty much losing half the value either way. If you have a premium Canadian Aeroplan card, you get World of Hyatt Discover status and also 5 elite qualifying nights for status each calendar year. Note that this does not apply to their US cards or the no annual fee Canadian ones. Yeah, lots of partnerships and status matches happening behind the scenes. Kind of curious what you'd hope to see. The last story is that we might be seeing flight price increases. This is across the board, but especially with Delta and United. Delta CEO Ed Bastian said that the airline will probably keep their level of fares even if the jet fuel prices fall. This was explained to their investors during the Q2 earnings report. The idea being that the demand for flying and willingness to pay these high prices is still there and that revenue is holding strong and exceeding expectations. Pretty much that people are willing to pay, so why decrease prices? This is also after them adding business class light, which a lot of people feel like is a fair increase in disguise. Even if not immediately, I think there is a good chance that it happens in the long term. This realization isn't just Delta, it's pretty much all the US airlines. Ironically, with Delta, it feels less bad because people know that it's more expensive, it's leaning into that premium branding. The funny thing though is that even previously more affordable airlines like Southwest are moving upstream, and their fare hikes and increases haven't impacted demand at all. People still want to fly them. The people willing to pay for travel before are willing to pay now with higher prices. For better or worse, we're in a K-shaped economy, and it's kind of a weird time. For people that like traveling but don't want to set money on fire, points and miles have been the safe haven. We are seeing United take an interesting strategy with their new aircrafts. For their new planes, it's going to be a 3-3 setup, but they're going to take some of the middle seats and close it off and have it as a separate table and just have it open. If you've flown in Europe before, same idea. They're going to have the seat there, but they put the table up and it's just open. They're going to start this at the Airbus A321XLR, and they're going to consider expanding to other planes in the future. I guess for United, if people are willing to pay, then United will happily collect the money. Beyond the base motive, there is a secondary motive. By doing this, they might have less overhead per flight. By getting rid of 2 seats, they can actually operate the planes with 1 fewer flight attendant. United's XLRs have 152 seats, but of those 2 seats gone, it's 150. That brings the minimum flight attendant down from 5 to 4, so 1 less person they have to pay. There's a lot going on, and I'm not really sure what to think of it. On one hand, I get that people don't like airlines trying to squeeze more customers into economy, and how that might be a bad experience. Whether that's the vertical standing seats or the farting double-decker ones. My fear, though, is that we might end up moving to business class only and more 60s level pricing. So yeah, first class back then looked nice, tons of legroom, and also food. Economy, though, looked about the same as today. It's still a 242 setup, and there's not that much room. It's still not the best. At the same time, a one-way economy ticket from LA to New York was about $145, so about $1,500 in today's dollars. For the round trip, it'd be about $3,000, so not cheap at all, compared to right now where round trip economy would be $300 something, and that feels like a bargain. And even if you do want more room and you want business, then it's $2,000 round trip, $1,800, which is cheaper than what economy was back then. As a deal seeker, having cheap fares is a good thing, and more options is always better. If it's short flight, then I'll pay for economy, and if it's a long one and the redemption's good, I'll use points. On that note, if you want to learn about cards, to get points, and you want to support the channel, we have links on the website, asksabby.com, and also down below in the description box. Make sure the links are competitive, that they make sense for you, but otherwise it's a huge way to support the channel, so thank you in advance. If you made it to this point, leave a plane emoji in the comments down below, and I'll try to heart it and also respond. 3 questions. Number 1, what are your thoughts on the Marriott Bonvoy devaluation? Number 2, what other status matches and partnerships would you want to see? Lastly, are you worried about price increases or not really? Let me know and everyone else know in the comments down below. Big favor, thumbs up, share this, but otherwise hope you liked it. See you next time.